I think the two most thoroughly miserable human beings in the NBA on a daily basis are Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. They're not happy. They never seem to be happy. They're enormously gifted. And in Kevin Durant's case, he's got 2 championships, and he was named the MVP of both, and he doesn't seem to be happy. He wants to go somewhere else. Even yesterday, when I think Steve Kerr said, I want him to shoot 20 to 30 times, and he said, that's not me. Well, it was him last night, obviously. Does he make them yeah, he's been with them for 2 years. They've won 2 championships. Everybody else in the league can talk about what they are aspirationally, but when Golden State's good, they're better than everybody else.
Kevin Durant's only problem right now is having 3 technicals, and one of those technical fouls needs to be rescinded.
I totally agree.
2 need to be rescinded. I've already sort of been slapped on the wrist by the league office.
So have I.
I'm sure you have too.
Yes, I have.
Unhappy about it when I called it, and I will call it again. Lazy officiating. Guys talking to each other?
Yes.
Could Larry Bird and Michael Jordan have even played in today's game without having technical fouls? They'd be thrown out of game 3 or 4. They wouldn't even get any further than that. Leave these guys alone.
Thank you.
If they're not threatening each other or menacing each other physically, Kevin Durant had a smile on his face. 2 of the 3 technical fouls is guys talking trash. Stop it. Bad, lazy officiating in 2 of those cases. OKC versus Damian Lillard, when he and Westbrook got into it, and James Capers and that crew let that go.
Let it go.
Let it go. That's the right way to officiate that, not last night with KD.
Not just that, and all of us are old school in certain respects as we look at the NBA. And if you think about it, we talk about the fans, but we ignore what they love and what they gravitate to as well. It's not just guys stepping on the court and competing against one another. It's seeing sometimes the dislike, sometimes the chirping at one another. That elevates the level of intrigue. But let me go back to what you said. You talked about the 2 unhappiest guys, in your opinion, seems Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Here's my question to both of you. There's a lot of rumors about those 2 ending up in New York someday together, meaning next season. Based on what you just said.
Yeah.
And obviously, you're from New York. I mean, I don't believe that to be the case with KD, but if you really feel that way about the both of them, how do you feel about the both of them potentially ending up in New York together?
I think it would be, again, they are supremely talented, and if we were just talking about ability, of course you'd want them. You would think they'd be the cornerstone of a championship team. But if they're both so unhappy, I would think if you played with them, it would be unhappy to go to work every single day if you had to read their moods every single day. Wilbon's happy all the time. We like, if you're that good and you seem to be that unhappy.
What do you think it is, Tony?
I don't know them. You all know them better than I do. But I mean, in Durant specifically, he left one team to go to another team. His exit from that team didn't seem to be the most charitable to his teammates.
Because I have a theory about it.
And then he went over here. He wants to leave this too?
I think that part of this is LeBron James. Like, if you're as good as Kyrie Irving, and you were clearly second banana, if you're as great as Kevin Durant, who should be the best player ever, right? What's the weakness? He's 7 feet tall. He can shoot from the outside, finish, handle, pass, everything, play defense, switch, whatever you need him to do. But you are, neither one of you, and it's correct, are perceived ever as the best player in the game because you're playing with LeBron James.
So you're saying they got to go somewhere else?
They're constantly looking to prove something that they're not capable of proving because LeBron has simply
why can't they prove it in New York?
Well, you
they
could,
make relevant, and they're amongst a bunch of angry New Yorkers. It might be match made in heaven, and then they can get the chip off their shoulder, right? They're in the Mecca, they're stars.
I think that Kevin Durant and New York City are a match made not in heaven. I mean, because Kevin it's okay. Kevin's a fairly thin-skinned guy. You can be that. But do you function best in New York? Where every day, look, Kyrie grew up in metropolitan New York.
Yeah.
He understands the mood, the tenor, the volume. I mean, Kevin, that's not his thing, from my observation.
Well, first of all, let me say a couple of things. Number one, and I love you, my brother. You know that. I don't want to hear this from you, you Chicago lover. I'm a New Yorker who has been starving for something respectable.
And
I want a shot. The New York Knicks haven't had it. That's right.
You and KD go at it all the time across the country.
But in a very fun-loving kind of fashion. There's no animosity between me and KD. I know how surreal that brother is. And for a dude, the last time the New York Knicks won a championship, I was 5 years old. He wasn't even born yet. He wasn't even born. He wasn't even born yet. You, the Chicago native, spoiled by Jordan. I don't want to hear from you.
Wait, excuse me.
And let me say this to you. I will proudly acknowledge If KD comes to New York City, there will be no objectivity coming from me whatsoever.
That's
I will
fair.
stand up and I will fight and support
I got a
him
better
every
destination.
day just to help him
Where?
come to New York.
Brooklyn?
I know you do.
Where?
I know you
No,
do.
not Brooklyn.
Clippers.
Of course, but
For
we don't need to
KD?
talk about
You
that.
can't-
We don't need to talk about that.
You know that that's a real alternative.
It's very real.
'Cause you and I
Why,
have been
Michael?
talking
But
to-
then he's competing with LeBron in the same city.
That's what he wants.
To Max's
You think
point.
he
Max's
wants
point is
that?
right on target. Molly,
Max is
he can-
blasphemous. He's a native New Yorker. to say
listen,
such things.
suppose the
Put
Clippers,
that
who
in
would be
his head.
better positioned to contend seriously
Okay.
in the Western Conference the next 2 years.
Yes.
All right? A playoff team adds Kevin Durant and something else. They can add 2 guys.
Championship, because they take them off of
They-
Golden State.
At that point, is LeBron in your rearview mirror? Let's be honest
He
about
is.
this.
He might be.
But that's not an iconic franchise.
Doesn't have to be
that
iconic.
You're turning
You
around.
can make it iconic.
Like the New York Knicks.
Time out.
Doesn't have to be iconic.
Let me answer this.
You
Steve
can make the
let me
Clippers
answer.
iconic?
Let me answer. Steve Ballmer is worth almost $40 billion.
Yeah, I'm aware.
You've got Lawrence Frank there. You've got Doc Rivers there. They want their own arena.
They do.
And by the way,
Enough with
hold on,
LA.
Molly.
And they're gonna build
Hold
their
on,
own-
Molly.
they're gonna
And by
build
the
their
way,
own
and
arena.
if they don't build their own arena in LA, he might move them back to Seattle. Let me tell you something.
Do the right
they
thing,
can
come to
become
New York.
iconic.
If
I,
they
have
can
a,
be-
I want to bring it back to Brooklyn for a second.
Sure.
Because in a larger sense, it's New York, right? Not just the Knicks.
He tells me every
And-
day Brooklyn's
and
not New York.
But here's the thing.
Mr. Long Island.
Because when
It's on Manhattan.
Kornheiser
It's on
was a
Manhattan.
kid, Brooklyn was the 4th largest city, like Welcome Back Kotter
Max,
style, right?
he
It
went
wasn't one of the-
upstairs on the roof an hour ago and looked at it and he said, a guy born and raised in New York. You know
In
what he
New
said?
York.
He goes, and that's Brooklyn, isn't
And I'm
it?
from Queens, and even I wouldn't say that, Tony.
That's
But
Brooklyn,
this is, wait,
isn't
this
it?
is,
What's
this
his
is my
comment?
point,
It's a nice
and I
roof, though,
figured
you gotta
that
admit.
I
Tony,
like
you
it.
would appreciate
I
this.
feel like I should pay money to be here and just watch you scream.
Brooklyn hasn't had a major
man,
league
I need to
franchise
put on my
since the
voice.
Dodgers left. It is a sexy destination. People around the world name their kid Brooklyn from other countries and stuff like it rings bells around the world.